Oh, hello there. Just a little preface to this video. I probably won't put much effort into explaining what I'm doing just because I don't feel like it today. It's not you, it's just me. But I thought I would update everybody on the place I was at that I winterized. I winterized this great big house, the biggest one I've ever been in. And I'm back here to get it up and running if I can do so. Now, if I remember the passcode to open the garage door, we'll see if it works still. Alright, time to call someone. I remember this being a problem before last time I was here. Great. So I guess that's just him now that pulled up in his truck and trailer. I guess we'll get in and get started. We got some really bad iron coming through the water, and that used to be a rich, dark looking, rusty colored water coming through, but it's flared up really well. This is, it's still there, you just can't really see it. It's not as much, but there's still a lot in the water yet. So you see how it started turning color there again? It's because in this tank, like in other words, when I first turned the well pump on, it filled us up with water, the nasty colored brown looking stuff, the iron water. And so it stayed in here while it just flushed from the well through the hose and out into the sump pit. Well, now that I've turned the power off, it's expelling all this water that was in this tank out. So I'm gonna flush it out several times like this to clear that up. Oh yeah, and of course I have it off to the rest of the house. So I have the valve shut off down here. That's off, so it's not going to the rest of the house. It's only filling up this tank. So just to make that clear, we're not getting everything else in the house filled with this nasty water. Next thing is going to be to fill up these water heaters and make sure that nothing leaks. But as you can see, we already have an issue. This was from you know, before. I'm sure we got a gasket going. In fact, it looks like this is off. A little bit off, like this could be tightened up a little bit further here. And we'll see what we can do. With this big of a house, you can get a little bit of cardio in. Running around, checking out the hose bibs, the outdoor hose faucets, which I just did and cleared them up. So they're working. The well pump just kicked off, so that switch works. And we're up to pressure. That's a little bit of pressure on this. We're at about 73 pounds. So the outside hose faucets are on. Now to turn it on to the rest of the house. Yeah, this tank isn't even functional. There's nothing hooked up to it. I mean, I disconnected these, but this was never hooked up. Well, it was before, obviously, but when I got here the first time, this is meant to inject, I believe, bleach, because you can see they got jugs over here. This is the injector pump for the bleach, and it's to help remove the iron, but that was never hooked up. I'm just gonna leave it until we decide what else we want to do. So basically, I can just bypass it and we'll be perfectly fine. That goes there. That goes there. That goes here. What is that? It goes through, comes back, goes to the house. Let me figure this out. Okay. And then it comes back. I get it now. Yeah. Gotta get all these filters and softener. Let's see. This is a filter for the iron. This is a softener. This is probably a carbon filter for taste and odor, if it even works anymore. But regardless, I had these pulled apart so they could drain. Shoved them back in with an O-ring and put that clip in. Did this one. Now I got this one to do. I think I'll flush it out at this point before it goes back into the house. Yeah, why don't we do that? Which means if I turn this valve on, going through up here, through, etc., and out. Open up, open up. Not bad. All cold lines are purged out, running freely, flowing freely. Next thing will be to figure out this conglomeration of pipes. Looks as though they hooked this in series. We got cold water coming in here. I hear air blowing out at me. This is the cold water, and this is the hot water. I think the water heater tanks are about to go. They're about that age, so we may look at replacing them. So I turn in the hot water. So I've saved you the best for last, but I've kind of spared you a lot of the details, such as changing out a water stop, and now we got to deal with the hair in this bathtub, so it's actually going to flow freely. You get the idea. I don't need to show you. Just pick it out. Needle nose pliers. Looks like it's been embedded in there for years, trying to fossilize. I'm also going to come back and replace a bunch of stuff that I didn't have with me, such as the water stops for the toilets. I don't carry 10 on the truck at a time. No, there's actually just 7 here. Just saying. Oh, and also all the supply tubes. What else? Oh, there's a flush handle that somehow got broke. What else? Beautiful. So just a slight change of plans. I am actually going to come back and take care of this today. Because the thing was, there's polished brass water stops at the toilets, and I was just going to replace them with the exact same so that they match the rest of the fixtures. Well, it's a toilet, but I asked him if he required polished brass, if it mattered to him if it was polished brass, and he said no, just put on whatever you got. Well, we got chrome. We got it. I'm back. I'm going to take care of it. I'm also going to test for iron, because there's obviously a lot of iron here, and see if we can't get this system up and working. Maybe. Well, let's find out. So just real quickly, this is an iron test kit that we have, and honestly, I don't know where it came from. Regardless, there's 2 test tubes. I fill this one to this mark with water after I rinse it out good. And then we got a reactor powder that goes in there. I shake it up. And I read it against the comparator wheel. Look at this. Looks old school, doesn't it? Probably because it is. This tube right here is filled with just a clear sample, so I can compare it to the marks on the wheel. What's that look like right about there? About 2. 2 what? Milligrams per liter. First, let me clarify, that came directly from the well. I'm gonna see if going through their equipment, if it still works. So now I'm gonna get a sample after all this equipment tested again. See what we got for that number. It might not be any now. Wow, that really cleared up. Well, so to be clear about that testing procedure, that is, you know, that's not exact. There might be some variables come into play. That is just for us out in the field to get an idea of what their water is like and what their equipment is doing. Sometimes if we want to get very detailed results, we send it into a lab if we can. In this case, I just wanted to see if the equipment was working. Apparently it is, so. Protect your knees, people. You only got 1 pair. I'm still wearing these. They are very nice. It just feels like I'm wearing diapers on my knees, that's it. But no complaints, man. My knees feel great at the end of the day. Anyways, task at hand. Swap out this valve. He wasn't concerned that it's polished brass. We're gonna use what we have in stock, which is chrome. Yeah, this is brass craft. Thought for a second it might have been something else, but it says brass craft right there. We're getting rid of these. All of them are leaking right out of the stem. One down, 6 to go. Honestly, it's quite comfy like that. As long as the toilet's not nasty running back, you know. You really only need just a little bit of this. It's like oiling your head bolts to torque them down. It's basically the same principle so that the nut can go around the threads without getting a lot of friction on them. Particular toilet, we have to replace the flush handle. As you can see, no worky. Oh, great. This is the corky right there. This is actually metal. I'm impressed. It's spring loaded? Wow. Anybody question why I was using these flexible ones versus the solid, you know, the plated ones like these? Well, honestly, I don't know, call me a little nervous or paranoid, but look at the only ones I've ever seen have the plastic ends to them, but we have stainless nuts on either end. Obviously you gotta have it in 3/8, but for the 7/8 end that goes under the side of the toilet, a lot of the cheap ones have plastic. These are some beefy stainless ones, and yeah, I've never seen them but with plastic, you know. So there's ones out there with stainless nuts on the end. I actually might use those instead, but I can count on these. In short, that's why. And also, we don't stock these anymore. So it seems like just these valves with these quarter turn stems here are the ones that are leaking on all the toilets. So that's why I haven't touched any underneath the sinks, because they're not this style and they seem to be just fine. That's why if you were wondering why I'm not doing all of them in the house, including underneath the sinks, something with this design just isn't sealing anymore. But it's been about 20-25 years, so what do you expect? So we got a problem. Anybody want to guess what this is? Basement sewage pump, which means you poop, it goes in here, and then gets pumped out. It's not working. And guess who gets to take the lid off and take a look in there? That would be me. Can't see anything. Seemed like that was under some extreme pressure. Okay, so we'll open the valve, let the check, push the little check flapper up so it could all empty out. Thankfully, the guys that originally put this in left plenty of vertical height to raise it up in order to do that. I'll tighten it up more some bit later after I see if this works or not. That did it. It was airlocked. Guys, it was airlocked. If you heard how I pumped it down all the way until you started hearing that sucking noise, which meant that it was trying to basically pump air, which it can't. Basically, when I winterized it when I was here before, I dumped a gallon or two of RV antifreeze down in here so that this vertical discharge pipe could be filled with RV antifreeze and not freeze, obviously. And I plugged it in directly, bypassing the float switch, and pumped it until I heard that sucking sound. Basically introducing air into the motor, into the pump. And when it was trying to pump air against the liquid, it was impossible to do, of course. So I just hope it didn't do it again. Yeah, we're good. Alright, we are okay. Probably because I got water running in it soon enough after this first time, or this time now, that it turned out fine. So if you think about it, without even realizing it, I showed you a step-by-step on how to take care of the airlock in your sewage pump if it ever happens. Bonus tip, how about that? Just one last final check on everything, make sure nothing was leaking right before I leave. That would be nice, right? No, that's all finished. We're all finished. Time to go home. Gotta get my son. Another one of those days. If you were curious, this house is still for sale. Hopefully it'll move in a little while. They're looking to get it, I don't know, done something with, so they had to have water up and running. So $899,000, if anybody's got that laying around. Thus ends our adventure for this Wednesday, March 22nd. Till next time, thanks for joining in. Take care, and I'll see you later.